Oh, hi. It must be Tuesday night. It must be time for Z2's Question and Beverage. I'm Sean from Z2. Tonight's guest is five-time champion. That's one-time Super Sport. No, it wasn't Super Sport. Actually, it was Daytona Superbike, the 600s, and then four times AMA and Moto America Superbike champion. We'll get him online here in a second. Tonight's beverage is sponsored yet again our friends at Fountainhead Brewing. I know it's backwards, that always is. And tonight we're enjoying a Belgian beer. I'm not quite sure what Cam is actually going to be drinking tonight, but when he shows up, we'll get him in. So nice. So let's see if I can get Cam on. I don't see him just yet, but he should be coming on here any second. East in Sacramento, a Devils Racing. It's been 104 degrees today, so hot like a hot like a pizza oven. Cam is, yep, okay. Cam is asking. Let's see, just join. Dun, dun, dun. This is. Dun, dun, dun. I'll grab you. Okay. Trying to do two things at once. I see Motor Stick, Pogo Stick, Gordon. And he'll be joining here in a second. Let's see, I might be able to grab him. Da, da, da. Come on. There's Cam's dad. Afternoon, Jeff. Or actually, it's evening now. There we goes. All right. We should get him on here. And 3, 2, 1. Yes. There we go. Here we go. Hey, Cam.
Hey, what's going on?
Thanks for joining us.
Gotta turn you up a little bit.
Okay, a little better.
What's going on?
Hey. Well, we're doing Tuesday night question of beverage. This is kind of really, and I know this is going to sound silly, but this whole thing had you in mind from the get-go. So I wasn't just blowing smoke up as I normally do. When we first started doing this, I'm like, hey, I got Cam, and then we just started getting the other people so I can get some practice. So you're kind of the culmination of all these other mistakes. So this is going to be an absolutely perfect interview.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Exactly. Believe that one. So how are we doing in isolation, and what have you been up to?
Doing good, man. It's been kind of a weird time, that's for sure. Luckily, like I said before, like our motocross tracks have been open in our area up here in Northern California, and
Right.
That's what I was doing for a while. I was just riding a lot of motocross and trying to stay in shape and stuff like that. And yeah, not doing a whole lot else, playing a little bit of Xbox and just messing around. I've been messing around in my shop a little bit and taking care of my property. But I'm so ready to go racing, man. I can't. Yeah, I'm already packed up, ready to go, and I'm hitting the airport in the morning to head to Milwaukee.
So have you packed on any COVID pounds sitting around, or have you gotten actually training in?
Maybe a couple. They're off by now though, so it's all right.
So have you had any testing time on the new R1?
Yes. We actually rode at Buttonwillow last week, and that was the first time I was on the bike since the barber test. So It was good just to kind of shake the cobwebs off because, the test was 2.5 months ago, and just being off a super bike for that long, you just get, you get a little rusty. Everything's coming at you pretty quick the first couple laps, but it went pretty good. Yeah, everything went good, and just felt good to ride a little bit again and shake everything down. And they loaded up the truck, and I think they left yesterday to head out to Wisconsin. So
Yeah.
So it's good. But
Good.
yeah, other than that, like the like testing over the off season went really good. Just with Richard partnering with Yamaha, or Attack partnering with Yamaha. It's been cool for me just to have kind of like a new chapter, you know, like obviously I'm going to miss Hobbs and all that,
Right.
all my guys over there, but it has been pretty cool just having something a little fresh to try, and like a different electronics package, and yeah, like different setup chassis wise, stuff like that. So it's been good.
So from the barber test to the button willow test, I'm sure you gave them a laundry list of things to get complete. How many of them do they actually get completed?
It's pretty, like, Richard's impressive, man. I've always heard like good things about him. But he's a smart guy. That's
Yeah.
for sure. I remember the first test I was kind of complaining about the tank. The tank was kind of bulky to me compared to my other one. And he was like, "Oh, we can fix that." And like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, or whenever the next test was, there's a brand new tank for me. And yeah, it's pretty good. But to be honest, like as soon as I hopped on the thing, I was pretty comfortable on it. Like I felt like lap time wise on the bike that we've ridden, I don't know what, the past 4 years or something like that we've been developing, 5 years. I mean, it was quite a bit different, and I might have been able to do like a little bit faster of a lap time on my old bike compared to the new bike when I first hopped on it, the first couple tests. But now we have it, like, I feel like now we have a pretty good package. We kind of almost have the best of both worlds. So it's good.
Is that from the evolution of the R1, or is it richer, or a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both, like everything that we've learned with YMUS, and then everything that Richard's learned, and just piecing everything together. So it's been kind of cool just to be a part of it, really.
Well, he's got quite the manufacturing process that maybe Yamaha USA didn't have, so you can turn around on those custom parts that work a little
like
bit
they both just had some good things about their teams, you know, and yeah, it's cool that we've pieced it together for sure.
Very cool. So I know you've done some motocross time. Are you still? So I've been to your old place, Area 97, and I've turned some laps very slowly around there. Does your new place have a setup similar to Area 97? That's your locale?
I have a dirt bike track, but it's a lot different. It's a little pit bike track, and it's super jumpy, and it's like there's big berms and stuff like. It's so fun, man. It's
so that means you're gonna get more hurt on that one than a slightly.
No, but it's perfect because Area 97, it's like always groomed and perfect and stuff like that, because my dad, you know, my daddy doesn't sit still like that. It's just, so it's nice. Like I have my track in the backyard if I want to ride it, and then I have a perfectly prepped track, you know, right on the other side of town that I can go ride. So
yeah, no kidding. With night racing available as well. Stadium
funny,
lighting.
Man. Like I was over there the other night, and he put in like a full irrigation system and all this stuff, and it's just like, I don't know, I'm just young, right? Like young and dumb, and he's just like decked out the whole property, and I'm just thinking, I was like, man, like I wish I did that, you know, I wish I or even knew how to do that. He's just yeah. You know,
he's old and crafty. Once he stopped climbing poles, then he's got all this nervous energy to.
Yeah, as soon as he retires not retires, but gets an office job, he just goes crazy. He tells me he has to go on like his lunch walks just because he has to do something. You know, he's a busybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's funny.
This is not a dig against you, Jeff. We love you, Jeff. We just want to divert your energy and for good, not for evil.
Yeah.
So other than that, I'm sure, some of the golf courses have been open. One viewer actually sent in by the Josh H. What's up with your golf swing?
Oh my gosh, dude. I taught him everything he knows on the course, so I don't want to hear it. He says it's backwards, but no, I'm just kidding. I haven't played in a while. I want to get out. Yeah, the course is just open a couple weeks ago here, so I'm itching to get out. I need to get out for sure. It's starting to get hot up here. It's like it's in the hundreds today, and it's supposed to be 100. Yeah, the rest of the week before Yeah, before or while I'm in Wisconsin. So as soon as I get
Uh,
back, I'll break the clubs out.
California 100 and Wisconsin 100s are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Wisconsin 100's got to be brutal. That's like Asia.
Yeah, well, that's looking at the calendar so far. I think Wisconsin will be pretty good. I looked at the weather and hopefully it's going to be dry. There's a chance of thunderstorms here and there, but it looks like
Yeah.
it's going to be 70 all weekend or 65,
Oh,
70 all
wow.
weekend, so that'll be nice. But like with this whole, the whole Corona thing happening, they've had to, Moto America's had to adjust the schedule, obviously. And I think we're going to Road Atlanta like around August or like
Mm,
something like that, and that's gonna be toasty. Like that's gonna be hot. So
yeah.
yeah, and I think looking at the schedule, we're gonna be racing till like November or something like that. So
Yeah, you're going to go deep
good.
into the season.
Yeah,
I was reading on a couple websites today. MotoGP and World Superbike are actually mentioning Moto America is going to go off this weekend. Obviously, no spectators, but they're watching heavily what's going on. So it's your time to shine, Cam. It's your
yeah.
time to shine.
I think it'll be great for our sport though. Like we're the first two-wheel sport back in action. We're gonna be
Yeah.
on FS1 on I think Sunday, and then just normal FS2 on Saturday, and then they have a package with Eurosport, so that's a huge channel over in Europe. I think it'll be good. So hopefully there's
Yeah.
some good racing.
The entire world is jonesing to see some competition
Yeah,
with real people, not just simulated
I'm the same way,
pixels.
man. I've been itching to watch Supercross again. They're going off Sunday, and
No.
yeah, hopefully we just get back rolling.
Yeah, they're going to be in. Are they going to be in Salt Lake this weekend? Or the?
Yeah, they're in Salt Lake for the next 7 rounds. 7 rounds.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow, I haven't keeping up with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're gonna
Pogo
run,
stick. Sean, how did you
every
meet?
Sunday, Wednesday.
Let's see. Pogo sticks. Sean, how did you meet Cam? What's the history there? Oh, it's a sordid history. It was an alley. He was underage. No, actually, you were underage. We'll get into a little bit, but we met in Stockton when you and your dad, Elena, Bobby Fong. That was kind of. I've talked to Elena about this. This was kind of the little epicenter for everybody just to groom their talent out there. I would go after work. You were going there before diapers were changed. I don't know. You were really, really young when you were out there thrashing around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you actually you actually had a name even back then. Everybody's saying, yeah, this little kid on the bike will whip it. Well, I'll try to keep it family friendly. We'll whip your butt on this little, you were on an 85, weren't you?
Yeah, I rode everything out there. I started on like 65s out there and just kind of worked my way up. But we'd go there like as soon as my dad get off work, he'd come home and we'd blast out to Stockton for the night. And yeah, I still got more laps around that track than any other track ever probably. But yeah, we were pretty lucky just growing up with the talent that we did in the area. You know, Elena, and Bobby, and Garrett, and the list goes on and on. But yeah, it's kind of and we had a lot of guys to chase out there too. You know, I remember like Puccio Magnus and all these guys. Casey Barr. There's so many good guys in our area, and a lot of people would travel even from down south. I remember like the Hayden brothers went out to Stockton one time and we're riding out there, and it's Stockton, you know, it's just in the.
Yeah, they had a lot of publicity. I mean, I remember the one time Wayne Rainey brought Carlos Checa out there, and Doug Chandler was out there.
Yeah.
It was like, this is Stockton, the middle of downtown Stockton.
I was looking at there's like an old poster the other day, and it said like $10,000 purse, like Stockton 2003 or something like that. And I was like, what? Like $10,000 purse to win the
would buy Stockton.
Moto, yeah, back then, yeah. They need to come back.
Wow. Well, that Supermoto kind of brought that whole generation kind of through. You kind of went away from the Supermoto and you started doing more motocross. What did you just dig motocross a little bit more? Did you like the inconsistency and the concentration?
Well, no, not really. So I grew up racing and riding motocross, and then I wasn't that good. Like I would just ride for fun, like all that. And then I think my dad ended up like hurting himself at Wilson Canyon on like one of our big family friend camp trips. And we didn't go racing for a little bit, and then we got into supermoto, and I just like really took a liking to the pavement, and I started, whatever it was, like I just had a good feel with it, and then I just started progressing and getting on bigger bikes, and and supermoto was booming at the time. Like the AMA Supermoto series was really was really strong, and that's just what we did. Like we traveled all over racing, and then when I was 13. It's crazy to think I was 13, but at the time, Brett Myland was my sponsor at Shoei, and he told me about the Red Bull Rookies Cup tryout that they were doing in Valencia, and this was in 2006. We went over there, in October or November, I don't know, something like that, end of the year in 2006, and JD was there, Chris Turner was there. I remember like James Rispoli. There was a handful of Americans over there, Chris Turner.
Yeah.
And me, JD, and Chris Turner got in, and that was kind of like the start of the road race thing. Like I did a little bit of road race stuff back before that, but it was mainly just go-kart stuff. Like I would road race my supermoto bike on races they'd have at either Dixon or Stockton, stuff like that. But like the real road racing didn't really start until the whole Rookies Cup happened, and then we started doing a little bit of USGPRU back here at home.
Right.
But yeah, that was crazy. That was a pretty cool journey looking back. I looked at Norm Viano, my old manager, JD and I's old manager, sent me some pictures and my mom some pictures the other day, and it's just funny. Like we were just little buttholes traveling the world and sleeping in our car, and yeah, it was crazy. It's crazy looking back.
Now, did you actually hit the podium in Estoril, Portugal?
I won the race in Sachsenring, and I got a handful of podiums, and I crashed a lot.
There was a story, and excuse me if I get this wrong, that you got a podium in Estoril, Portugal, and you had a trophy. And I think Casey Stoner's dad had something to say about the trophy that night at the restaurant.
And he said I had a nice cock. So, yeah.
Well, there you go.
17 years old, you think everything, you think that stuff's funny. I still think it's funny, but.
Well, he's Australian, so zero filter.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Well, that's awesome. You actually that actually kind of launched you into the 125 World Championship on a KTM.
Yeah, so in 2007, I did the Rookies Cup, and looking back on it, just the guys I was racing they're pretty good, like Zarco and what's his face, Louis Salon. Like obviously he passed away a few years ago, but he was really good. Lorenzo Salvadori, he's like really good in World Superbike. Had some good success over the last few years, and a handful of other guys. But racing against those guys, I was like, I think I just turned 14 going into the end of the Rookies Cup, so I was like I barely made the age cutoff, and yeah, it was cool. They saw something in me. They put me in the MotoGP Academy, and that was run by Alberto Puig, and yeah, it was cool. I lived over in Spain for a little bit with Folger and Danny Kent, and Zarco. He was in there at first, and he didn't really like the KTM. Like he didn't gel with the KTM, and he ended up he was hooked up with Gaber Talmasci, if you remember that name at the time, and he went off and did some stuff with Gaber on an Aprilia, and kind of did that. But yeah, we raced the whole Spanish championship. We did a couple of like the Mediterranean championships is what they'd call it, at Valencia. And then I think another round was at Catalunya. And it was basically all the same guys in the Spanish championship, but it was stacked, man. I remember like there was like 80 or 90 125s just trying to qualify in the grid. I mean, there's only 40 guys on the grid. And PJ Jacobson, I raced against him over there too. And he was riding for like the Aspar Aprilia team at the time, or Van Caja, I don't know, something like that. But yeah, that was a really fun, tough year. And then I learned a lot just racing against those guys. And then KTM, Red Bull KTM, moved me into the World Championship the next year for 09. And I don't think I was quite ready for it, but I mean, like, it's an opportunity of a lifetime type of thing. I got to race the whole world, travel the whole world at 16, racing 125s, and
literally against the best in the world.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was really cool looking back on that. I feel like looking back though, I wish I was just over there by myself. You know, it was a little tough, but yeah, I definitely learned a lot for sure.
So, would you recommend any kid coming up to immediately? I mean, the United States has a great program, but is it probably better to get over to Europe and race the best of the best? Is that, or do you feel that's where you cut your teeth and you learned the craft?
I would say for me, the stuff I learned at a young age over there is, it's you can't learn that here, really. Just
right.
Like the level of the talent level of those kids over there right now, and it just gets better every year and every year. It's ridiculous. Like it's crazy. But I feel like we have some good up and comers here, and I'm excited to see what they can do for sure. I know like that Rocco Landers, he's riding really good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a handful of guys. So, but I feel like definitely you have to spend some years over there for sure on and those GP spec bikes and stuff too. Like they're full on race bikes on. I mean,
GP tracks, GP bikes, GP mentality.
And you're just in the scene over there too. Yeah.
So since this is Z2 question and beverage, I didn't preface this. What are you drinking tonight?
Just
I know
water,
you're training
man.
for
Just water.
Man, you and Garrett, man, it's like professional and stuff.
No, I got an early flight tomorrow, man. Early flight.
Yeah, you.
I'm going racing.
So, right. So after the 125, you kind of came back to the States. You did some of the KTM Cup again, and then you jumped on to a friend of ours that we see each other once a year over at Super Bowl. Jesse Kaler stepped up and helped build you some remarkable bikes that really got your name back to the front of everybody's lips. You were on. Jesse built some awesome bulletproof bikes, but not necessarily the fastest bikes. And you had to, from a fan's perspective, you had to override those bikes, specifically on the brakes, to make up for those long straightaways. I know he made some fast motors, but they weren't, grenades with the pin pulled, because obviously your dad was financing all this, so you couldn't have 3 motors per event weekend. How was working for BBJK? I was riding for him.
No, it was great. So yeah, getting back to that, I came home from Europe. I still had a little help from Red Bull and Top One Oil at the time, and obviously my parents. And I rode for Rockwall with JD, and I hit a couple East Coast rounds. We did like Daytona, rode Atlanta, a couple others, and then we had our own, like our West Coast bike too that we do super sport on, and got a couple wins there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we didn't really have much for the next year, and luckily my dad and especially my uncle Josh, he's been friends with Jesse for quite a few years, and Jesse said he was going to help us out, and he paved the way for me, really. Is pretty crazy everything he did for me. Like we had 2 bikes that my dad built. One was our previous Super Sport build from the year before, and everything was just built in his garage. I'd be running parts over there, and my dad be spending every penny he had just to build the thing and get us to the track. And it was definitely like one of the toughest years racing, but it was super rewarding. We were getting podiums against like Graves and
you were
4 Team and all these guys. And at the time the field was stacked. Desal was on that Ducati and Eslick and all these guys, and that was like a big turning point mentally for me too. Just like knowing I can race those guys and beat those guys and stuff. That was such a cool year, man. Like
Well, I was going out at like 2, 3 a.m. cutting power lines so your dad can get some overtime.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
Yeah,
Not really.
they'd be busting their butt at the track, because nothing went smooth. Like there was always like something little with the bike, or I'd crash, or something like that would happen. Um, I remember spray painting bodywork on the trash can at like Mid Ohio and all this stuff. Like it was just, yeah, it was a crazy year, but yeah, looking back on it, it was so cool. And then at the end of the year, Jesse, I got Keith McCarty and Chuck Graves' attention, and we talked to him a little bit on and off. Like Jesse went over and introduced me to him a couple times throughout the year, and then they invited us down at the end of the year to go down to Cyprus at Yamaha, and that's when they presented. And yeah, Jesse drove me down there. We did like an out and back that day, and yeah, Jesse drove me down there, and they presented me with offer, and I've been with them ever since. It's pretty crazy.
Now, this is going to be slightly probably awkward for you. You had a major kind of an injury in between the factory offer, and was there some type of injury that sidelined you for a little bit?
No,
nothing. Really, because it's right here. I've got photos.
Oh yeah, no, I had a couple then, actually. I hurt myself on a dirt bike, imagine that, and then I went and I bought a Zuma 50, and literally the day before I bought it, my dad's like, "You better not buy that thing, like you're gonna hurt yourself, or you're gonna, like, this isn't, it's not the right time to be stupid," or whatever he said. And sure
whatever
enough,
he said.
Yeah, sure enough, I end up in the hospital, like dicking around on a Zuma 50, and he was so mad. He didn't even show up to the hospital. Like, he was so mad. Oh man. And that was that was pretty stupid though. I definitely learned my lesson on that one.
Yeah, that was a little dodgy there.
Yeah, and then I made it worse too, because I came back. I was nervous. I just got this ride, and it was in 2012. Just got this ride. I just raced Daytona, podiumed at Daytona. Had to miss Road Atlanta. Went to Sonoma, and it was like 4 or 5 weeks after surgery. And if anyone knows, like I destroyed my kneecap and like torn ACL. Like it was, and I somehow rode like 4 or 5 weeks after my injury, and it was worse though. Like I made it worse. Like I ended up getting on the podium the first day. But I remember, like, not even remembering, like, the second half of the race, because by lap 4, I was so tired. Like, I couldn't even, like, breathe. And somehow I made it through the race, and I couldn't even race the second day because my body was just destroyed. And I couldn't even sit on the bike the next day because my knee, like, blew up like a balloon. But, yeah, that was ridiculous, man. But after that, I started – had a couple rough rounds, and I remember Ollie at Barber. He's like, "Come on, man! Like you can do this. Like, you can beat these guys." And yeah, at Barber, like we ended up winning both races, and after that, like I just built a little confidence, and we won, I think, 7 or 8 races that year. And I had some crazy battles with Martin Cardenas. He was like one of the toughest guys I ever raced.
Yeah,
he's good. And then 13, everything just went to plan. So it was good.
Yeah. Since then, you've, other than a couple, well, there was another injury that with your shoulder that kind of sidelined you for one of the championships, because you were doing, you actually almost high-sided it. Was it Jersey? No.
Pittsburgh. Yep.
Yeah, that was from a fan's perspective, that was bizarre until we actually saw it looked like you quit until they showed the replay. And we're like, oh snap.
So weird, man. I wish I just rode back into the pits. Like, whatever direction the bike was going, like that's just the direction I was going. Like it was so weird how fast it happened. It was literally like the perfect scenario for my shoulder to come out, like the way the bike snapped and everything like that. And I was like leaning off to the left to try to like turn the bike left. And that was so weird, man. That was like the first, I had problems as when I was younger. My shoulder had come out a handful of times. I remember the first time I did it, I was like at the dirt jump. So I do everything like I hurt myself mainly just being stupid. Like if you haven't
Gotcha.
figured that out
Hey
yet.
kids, he's a terrible warning.
Yeah, I hurt myself at the dirt jumps like when I was younger, and yeah, my buddy had to call my dad and all this stuff like that. He was like, "Oh yeah, his shoulder's out. Like we can't figure out how to get it back in." Blah blah blah. And I had problems with it ever since. And then that was just like the final straw. I was like, I have to get this fixed. I can't have it coming out like and not even hit the ground, you know. So
Right.
got that fixed, and then came back really strong in 2018, and it was good.
Yeah. And then you've been kind of on a tear. You know, I know Raj has gone through and you've done other interviews and everybody kind of knows that you're kind of the man on the superbike. What, from a fan perspective, I got to bring up the last lap battle you had with Tony at Road America, which was one of those epic races. It may not be the most memorable for you, but from a fan perspective, what has been up to this point the most memorable superbike race for you?
Shoot, man. I would say, like looking back on maybe 2015 or 16, it was one of the races at Laguna that I won. It might have been 15, actually. But I had a crazy battle with Josh, and maybe no, it was 16. It was Josh and Tony. I had a crazy battle with Josh and Tony, and my whole family was there, and like I remember I was struggling with my front brake pretty bad. Like it kept like coming into the bar and then like extending all the way out. Like I had a little air bubble in the line or something like that. And it ended up clearing up with like halfway through the race. And I was just yo-yoing behind them. Like I would drop a second back and have to like ride as hard as I can to try to close it up. And then like I'd screw up somewhere and have to come back again. And I made a couple like pretty close passes on the last lap, and I was able to win one of the races. I can't remember. I think it was Sunday or something like that. But I just remember how hard I had to ride and fight for that one. That was a pretty good one. It was just like no better feeling when your family and all your friends are there and stuff like that. When you win in front of them is pretty cool. Yeah.
Now you're, and this is funny because it's been brought up before. You're a smooth rider, or at least the perspective is you're smooth. It's not necessarily the case because when you really watch slow-mo, you're riding the wheels, and the thing is really hucking and bucking, and you're pushing it to the limit. And then I think your fan base is built around, yeah, there's times to be smooth, and then there's times to get a little rough, and then get it done, and you seem to be able to, now it's time to go. From a fan perspective, yeah, the Laguna battles have been awesome. But
it's funny you say that though,
battle,
I feel like people say I'm smooth, or like they say my style is smooth and stuff like that, but like I don't feel like that on the bike. You know what I'm saying? It's funny when people say that.
In slow-mo show it proves that. In slow-mo, you're really on the ragged edge. And you're like, holy cow. So how was that? It may not have been the most memorable, but how was that battle? Can you walk us through the last lap of the Road Atlanta where you were leading? Road America. Tony kind of gave you a little nudge going into turn one, and it looked like it was over, and then you had something to say about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty crazy race. I mean, I think just racing Tony over the last few years, like, you know, he's a great guy, you know, off the track.
Mm-hmm.
On the track, he wants to win more than anything. And I'm the same way, and that stuff's just going to happen sometimes, you know. But I saw him throw some elbows on, even like, you know, his teammate and a couple other guys, and then I got bumped wide, and like the first corner there is so fast, man. Like it's like that's spooky. Just two bikes going in there at the same time, and I kind of got bumped off the track, and it was the last lap, and I just like, I don't know, I kind of saw red type of thing. I just went for it, and I mean, by no means I'd ever want to put someone on the ground, but I mean, I went in there hot, going for it, and it was crazy how it all worked out. Like I said, I don't want to put anyone on the ground, but yeah, that happened, and then I was able to barely draft Heron to the line, and I didn't even know who won coming, right after.
Yeah, that's close.
And yeah, like cruising down. I remember I cruised down into 5, and they had the jumbotron there for the fans, and I saw it. I was P1, and I was like, man, like don't get too excited yet because
Right.
they could go back and look at a photo finish or something like that because it was so close, you didn't know. And then I cruised into the pits, and I was like did I win? Did I win? And they're like, yeah. And yeah, that was cool.
Amazing comeback, and
it was cool.
I know
it was cool too because I don't know. There's been I'm the first to admit it. There's been a lot of times where I look back on a race and I wish I was a little bit more aggressive and I put myself in some better spots. And that was like a good feeling to me because I could tell my team was like, obviously, like I said, I don't want to ever put anyone on the ground, but like I got aggressive. I did something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was pretty crazy.
It was unfortunate that Tony went down, and I don't think anybody cheered that Tony went down. Everyone cheered that you put a decent hard pass on it, and it was unfortunate that he went down. But that being said, rivalry is good. I know you guys, you guys, both great guys off the track, and you understand that. But rivalry makes for a better sport, and it drives each other to push harder and harder. And both of you, I mean, Tony is the master of. I don't want to say dive bombing, but dive bombing comes in. I mean, he's somehow able to drop that thing to the apex, super narrow, and then still get it off the line or get it out of the corner and still carry the momentum. Is that a style? Is that a setup, or is that just both?
I mean, he's smart, man. Like he's beat the best guys in the world. I think that he's just been able to utilize his bike to the best of its abilities. Like the thing stops and goes so good, that Yosh Suzuki. And like even when we're faster than him in practice or qualifying, like he can still figure out a way to get it done. And it's pretty frustrating as a rider. Yeah, that point and shoot style, it's so tough to pass someone like that when you're making your time rolling through the track like you have to in the R1. But that's what's cool about the situation I'm in now. Just our bike setup's a little different, and I think our motor package is a little different also, and I think that might help in some of those areas. But I mean, we'll see when we go racing.
Do you think the new motor package with the new Evolution R1 is that much stronger?
I wouldn't say that much stronger, but it's definitely better in some of the areas where we were lacking. And not only that, but just chassis-wise, like can't give you all the secrets, but we just, I guess the last few years we've run a pretty short wheelbase, stuff like that. And it makes, I mean, the bike turns really good, turns on a dime, and you roll through the track more. And I feel like I've tried to set up my bike this year a little bit more for not necessarily stop and go, but just being able to do a little bit, I don't know, run different lines, just do a little bit more with the thing. So, and like you
more flexibility.
Like I said, you can add at the test track, everything feels good until it's the true test is when you go racing, when you're battling with people and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Now, super short season coming up, different mentality. You kind of have this, you build momentum through the year, and then you really come on strong. You really don't have that opportunity because it's going to be a really short, truncated season. I mean, is this going to be bare knuckles fighting from the get-go to get as many wins as we possibly can, just in case there's cancellation of other races? I mean, are you going in this with a different mentality?
Yeah, I will. I mean, I go into every race wanting to win, but definitely I would love to start out stronger this year. I feel like that is my normal thing. Like I kind of slowly get going throughout the season and start building like halfway and then have a strong end to the season. But I feel like that's definitely hurt me in the past. So I do really want to, I want to start out strong, not necessarily because who knows if the season gets cut short or anything like that, or if we have a second wave of this thing, but because very well could happen. You never know. But just for me, I want to start the season a little stronger, and yeah, like not get myself in a rut like I feel like I have the last few years. There's always like a point in the season where I kind of get myself in this little rut and I crawl my way out of it and I build some confidence and start getting some wins and stuff like that. But I definitely don't want to do that this year. So we'll see.
No, I don't think you have time.
We'll see. And I think, based on the last couple years, Road America has been a little, at least last year, it was a little tough on us. Just they had a little power on us last year there. But I think this year we're going to be in a little better spot, and I hope so because there's going to be 2 back-to-back rounds there at Road America. And I really want to have a good, strong season because especially if we're going to COTA later in the year, that's another track we struggled out a little bit. So, yeah, I would like to get rolling before that for sure.
Yeah, that back straightaway at COTA really kind of shines for the Gixxer as opposed to the Yamaha where that roll speed's just not there and they just pick it up and romp away.
Yeah. No, yeah, COTA's one of those tracks where, like, you see how fast the track is, and there's so many big, long braking zones, and that's where we struggle a little bit with in the past, and that's what we've kind of been trying to fix a little bit lately. So.
Oh, well, we've got a lot of people rooting for you. So you've got 4 championships. You've also done some. You had a one-off shot with the German Superbike Championship as a wild card. That didn't go exactly to plan. Can you explain your experience there? You were running different tire manufacturer, different team, different bike because obviously it's not your preferred bike. And I think in one of the races you actually set the fastest lap of the race, but unfortunately clipped the curb or something.
Yeah. I remember, man, that was such a crazy weekend. I remember we flew over there. Tom Halverson and Keith McCarty went with me, and just to make make sure everything went smooth and stuff. And that was crazy. I remember the first day we drove there. We drove to the track. We flew in Thursday, and then we were on track Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the first day we went straight to the track, and we feel like we're at the track, like we're pretty close to the track, and we start seeing curbs and something that kind of looks like the pit wall, and we're like, man, like this is kind of cool. Like there's it looks like a track to the track, And then we realized like we were on the track, like they literally shut down the streets, and that's what we raced on. And that was like the first. I don't know. That's the closest taste I'll ever get to like an Isle of Man or anything like that. And
yeah.
It was trippy, man. There was a couple hairball sections. I remember there was like this 5th gear, like downhill left-hander, and there's like a freaking guardrail right on the outside. It was called Schleiz Drerick or something like that. The track was, and then there was like a bar right next to one of the turns, and I was like, no way. And it was super packed. It was really cool. Like the team was really cool that I rode for. Yeah, I remember someone crashed in front of me in Super Pole, and they literally just disappeared into this cornfield, like right in front of me. It was pretty funny. Not funny, but yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was just nothing I was used to, that's for sure. But yeah, I got 4th. I think I got 4th the first day, and then I got 4th the second race, and then the first race, I put down some pretty good times. Like I was going pretty good. I think I was in 2nd or 3rd. And Xavi Flores, Lorenzo Lanzi, there's a couple other, Marcus Reiderberger, they were in that championship. And it was cool because it reminded me of our championship. Like we have some really strong, like I would say world-class guys in our championship.
Right.
But it was the German championship. So, but it was cool racing those guys. It was cool just doing something different. It was really cool being there with like Keith McCarty and Tom, hearing like some of their old stories and stuff when he went there with Bob Hanna back in the day and all that stuff. And yeah, that was cool, I would say.
Yeah, but flying out a Wednesday, getting there on a Thursday, jet lag, and a track you've never seen, literally with drunk Germans in a bar next to you. I mean, that's on a bike you've never ridden before, on tires you're not used to. Yeah, I'd say fourth is pretty damn good.
No, it wasn't too bad. It was definitely yeah, it was a wild weekend, but it was cool. I had some cool times over there. Like the last time I was over there, I did that wild card at Donington, and that was pretty cool.
That's what I was leading up to next. You had I didn't look it up, but I think you had a couple 10th places at Donington in sketchy weather conditions, right?
Yeah, well, I had a 10th the second day, and I crashed the first day. But
oh, okay. Well, you had 110.
Yeah, I remember I qualified inside the top 10. I think I qualified like 8th or something like that. And I remember sitting next to Nikki, or sitting like either right behind Nikki, kind of near Nikki on the grid, and I was like, damn, dude, like that's Nikki Hayden. It was a pretty, yeah, that was a pretty cool feeling. But that whole weekend was really cool. It was the PATA team, you know, welcomed me and Zemke in with open arms. They took care of us all weekend, and I was, you know, I was pretty happy the first day. I was in the top 10 in practice, and then qualifying, qualifying, I think I was 7th or 8th, like I said, and then leading into the race, I had like some confidence. Like I was like, let's kind of go for it type of thing, and I went and crashed first lap. I think I was in like 5th or 6th or something like that, and I was just trying to go for it. Crashed in the last corner. And that hurt my confidence a little bit going into the second day, because I was like, man, I'm going to look pretty stupid if I go crash again. So I started off the race not the best and just kind of built throughout the race. And by the end of the race, I had a little battle with Vandermark and Josh Brooks, and that was really cool. But yeah, just that whole paddock and everything is really cool to me. It's more laid back. It kind of seems like more Moto America, you know. Like I was in GP at such a young age on the 125s, but it's definitely a little more cutthroat than the World Superbike paddock seems to be. So
yeah, much more corporate too.
Yeah, but I'd love to get back there. I'm really excited to see how Garrett does over there this year. Yeah, it should be good if they ever get racing, man. It's crazy.
Now, of course, I ask this of you and your dad every year at Super Bowl, going, if opportunity, are there any opportunities? Well, 2020 is already shot in the bag. But if you had any more opportunities for World Superbike to do a wild card, or even, I know, crazy enough, I know corporate sponsorship stuff, even MotoGP, is that something you try to work into clauses, or is that just more hey, if the opportunity comes up, put my name in it? Garrett had mentioned, hey, I just keep throwing my name out there. Do you keep throwing your name out there going, hey, if a World Superbike or German Superbike or anything happens, or is it depend on where you're sitting in the championship at the time?
I mean, it's tough. I think what Garrett did, like going over there and just showing his face in the pits and stuff like that, I feel like that went a long way. I think that really went a long way. I remember I mean, Zemke's told me I should do that. Hayes has told me I should do that, stuff like that in the past.
Well, wait a minute. If that's all it is, I got a corporate credit card.
Yeah.
You're on the next slide, bud. Get going.
Well, I mean, that's not all it is, but that
okay.
helps. You know what I'm saying? But I think, honestly, like right now, I would love to go over there and get over there on the right opportunity. But I've said it multiple times. Like, I feel like Yamaha has they've put me in such a good situation over here, and I have too good of an opportunity to pass up for something that I'm unsure about over there. And I know you have to take a step back to take a step forward over there. Like, you're not going to go over there and get on the best thing, and you got to earn your way type of thing. So and who knows, it could change in the next few years or something like that. But what I would love to do is get, a couple more wild cards and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. At the same time, like, I'm not saying I wouldn't want to go take a shot over there, but I do love coming home after every race. And everyone that knows me knows that I like spending time close to home and doing my thing around here. And that's just a whole, I mean, it's a huge sacrifice to go over there and do all that and stuff like that. And not saying I don't want to, but I feel like right now, like the situation Gerloff's in, I mean, he's in the perfect situation for that. He's going really fast. He's riding really good. And, and yeah, I'm stoked for him. I think
well, it would not suck if you finished out your career in the States, because you've got a great fan base and we love the way you ride. So if you didn't go over there, we'd love to see you over there.
Definitely before I stop racing though, I want to get over there though and see what.
Again, if it's a matter of a ticket, we can get you a ticket. I don't know if Southwest is flying over there, but we can certainly find out. And if nothing else, we can get you a nicer one. We'll get a one of those.
Are you first class guy?
Fundraisers get you out there.
Yeah.
So I know you're 27 now, correct?
Yeah.
Not you're not old by any stretch of the imagination, but you're kind of in midpoint of your career. Have you decided to start thinking about what you'd like to do after your career, after road racing, starts drying up? Are you thinking about running a team? Are you and Shelby going to create, the next generation of Beaubiers? I mean, are you trying to come up with the next generation of Beaubiers? Let's get personal here.
Oh, geez, man. I mean, I definitely want kids, like, someday. Like, I don't even know. I can't even take care of myself, though, right now. So that's going to be maybe a little bit. But I don't know, man. I mean, I would love to say that, like, hopefully I can, like, set myself up so I don't have to work type of thing. Like, that's the goal, right? But obviously I'm going to want to, like, stay busy and keep myself busy doing something. I would love to, I mean, hopefully, I think what Moto America is doing is really good right now. The series definitely is growing. It's just tough right now because, like, the manufacturers like aren't really there to support the growth of Moto America. So that's kind of tough right now, but I honestly think it'll get better. It's just going to take a while. But I would love to have, like, a little team. I wouldn't say like, I've thought about, like, maybe, like, helping some kids out or, like, doing some coaching things, but I don't really think I'm necessarily, like, the best coach. Like, I'm not
just go faster.
I don't have, like, I don't have, like, a coaching mentality. Yeah, but I think for sure, like, if some up and coming kids, like, spend some time with me or something like that, they could learn something. But I think it would be cool to run a team in the future or something like that. Like, that would be really cool. Nothing big, but maybe, like, a little up and coming team. I don't know. We'll see. I just want to focus on what I got going on right now, though. That's
yeah. As says, you can become some type of Twitch social media star.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Xbox e-gamer. Here I come.
There you go. So let's see. We got about 7 minutes left. One of the things that stands out with you helped us out coaching with Cam Gish when we were helping Cam get his swerve on. One of the stories I relate to our students is we gave you showed up at Thunderhill on track day, let a bike to ride, and you said, "Hey, can I borrow a bike?" And we're like, "Yeah, we've got this R6 with 0.0 miles on it. If you want to break it in, no problem." And so I think he got rolled over to Chris McGuire over at Pirelli. And the next thing I heard was, "Oh, hey, Cam just set a 51, was it a 51.2 or 51.8 on literally a bone stock R6 with, I don't think you turned a knob on it." So that was a hell of a way to break in a bike.
No, that was good, man. But that was also those, that was that time where you guys were helping me out big time too. Like, I was helping out Gish a little bit, riding with Gish, but you guys were helping me out a ton too, just getting to the track and riding a little bit. Cause I mean, I wasn't riding my race bike or anything that Jesse was building at the track days. We had to save it for the races and all that. So it was so good for me just to go out and spin some laps on that stock bike. And I remember that. I remember Pasquarelli used to go out there, and I would try to chase him around on that stock bike, and he was on his race bike, and I like just little stuff like that you don't even think that's helping you, like making you kind of ride over your head. That stuff helps you for sure.
Oh, that's great. Right over your head.
Yeah, it was your bike,
That's
so
good.
I mean, I had nothing to lose.
In our minds, you were taking it easy and you were in control. I'd hate to see video of that.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So the last question I got here. So there's some rumor that you have a ritual, and the ritual has to do with your base layer or your undersuit of your leathers. Now, is there any truth to the
I would
rumors?
say it's like a routine.
It's a routine. You know, Rossi always grabs his crotch as he wails out. I've heard this thing has not been washed in 5 years.
About my socks. No, they're okay. In my defense, yes, I've worn the same pair of socks for the past 5 seasons, but they haven't done me wrong. Like I can't change them now. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's saying change them out. Do you wash them?
Yeah, I wash them, but they just got like permanent stink in them. Like, dude, it's so great. When I bust those boots off, like everyone just runs out of the trailer and I get it to myself. It's perfect.
Well, when they're standing up by themselves in the corner winking at you, that's probably time to disinfect those things.
Oh man, Zemke told you that, huh?
No, it wasn't Zemke of all people. He didn't. Actually, I should have asked him. I didn't even think, since he's a personal coach, I didn't even think. Yeah, your socks are 4-time champions. Nicely done. Cam, we're just about out of time. I think I know personally, and everybody else, thank you so much for spending your time. I know it's hotter than blazes out there. It's probably still in the high 90s out of your ranch.
I'm like freaking sweating right here, but it's all good. Thanks for having on, man.
Best of luck this weekend. You know, haul a lot of ass and kick a lot of ass out there. And really looking forward to seeing you up on the box and you know, hopefully maybe getting the 5th 5-time Superbike champion underneath your belt. And there you go.
I appreciate it, man.
All right. See you when you get back, and enjoy. Hope everything goes well, buddy.
All right. See you, man.
Thanks, everybody.